The reason you're not losing weight is because you are stuck in the cycle of predictable and easily preventable fat loss mistakes. The vast majority of people who try to lose weight and get in shape fail, but they don't have to. So stop being one of those people and pay close attention to this video because I'm going to share with you the common mistakes that are made, but also how to get over them so that you can achieve your goal. I'm a doctor who insists on being a fit dad, so I need to be efficient. And I want to show you how you can include fitness in your life regardless of how busy your schedule is. Now, I'm not trying to sell you anything, but all I ask is that if you enjoy the video, hit the like button and drop a comment letting me know the biggest fat loss roadblock that you have faced and how you got over it or why it's still a problem for you today. The first big mistake that people are making is they're doing too much high intensity cardio. This is a problem for several reasons. One is that if you're doing too much cardio and not allowing yourself adequate rest, you're going to put your body into a state of stress. When that happens, you have an increased cortisol, and that leads to retaining fat, losing muscle, and making it harder to lose weight. Not only that, but if you're focusing on high intensity cardio, you're also going to be burning away muscle. And in the process of losing fat, we want to save as much muscle as possible so that when we get to a lower body fat percentage, we have more muscle to show through. So how we fix this is that we focus on a balanced approach, doing a moderate amount of cardio and focusing on a moderate amount of calorie deficit from our diet. When we focus on low intensity cardio, we're able to sustain that long term and do it for longer periods of time without having to wait days and days to recover from it. Especially when you're eating in a calorie deficit, it's hard to recover from high intensity cardio. But if you focus on low intensity cardio, you can do this day after day for even an hour or so at a time, and it's not going to be eating into your muscle reserves as much. So stop doing extreme amounts of high intensity cardio and focus more on low intensity cardio. The second big mistake that people are making is that they think they're in a calorie deficit when they're actually not. Now, I've heard this time and time again. I'm eating less, I'm in a calorie deficit, I'm on a diet, but I can't lose weight. Something is wrong with me. And while there is a very small percentage of people who have some medical problem that makes it harder to lose weight, if you are not losing weight, it means by definition, you're not in a calorie deficit. But most people are just missing these common things that they're not including when they're tracking or they're just counting wrong. The first big way that this can mess people up is if they're relying too much on their calorie trackers. If you do a workout and you're tracking it on your phone or your watch, whatever you're using to track calories, most of the time it quite dramatically overestimates how many calories you burn. So if you're burning extra calories and you're looking at that and saying, oh nice, I earned myself a blizzard, you're gonna accidentally eat more than you're supposed to and break your calorie deficit and then start eating at maintenance or even above. The other big factor is people are eating really clean, healthy foods, but they're not paying attention to the calories that are involved in each part of the meal. If you're using salad dressing or oils or butters when you're cooking or allowing yourself certain treats and snacks now and again, that you're not considering how much calories they have, it can be very easy to overdo it and break your calorie deficit. So the answer to that is to obviously count your calories as strictly as you can, but even then people don't track it properly and they might over or underestimate the amount of volume, or they're using cooked meat volume instead of uncooked. Those things matter. And if you look through a tracker, you'll see the same type of thing, but has a lot of different calories as well. And so it is very much an estimate, but you have to try as hard as you can to be as accurate as possible. Now, I'm not saying you have to count calories for the rest of your life, but if you're struggling with this aspect of things, tracking it as strictly as possible for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row can really help open your eyes to the fact that certain foods have a lot more calories than you might have thought. And once you get the hang of it and realize where you're making your mistakes, you just have to correct that and you can stop counting calories and stay on course. So track your calories as best as you can. Don't rely on calorie trackers for your exercises, and monitor your progress using the scale weight, how you look in the mirror with progress photos, or how your clothes are fitting or how you're feeling in general. Pay attention to the calories you're eating and how that affects your weight on the scale from week to week. The third big mistake is having a cheat meal or a cheat day. If you're not including that cheat meal or cheat day into your calculations for your calorie deficit, it can be incredibly easy to overeat so much that not only did you suffer all week eating less, but now you're eating so much on the weekend that you're not even in a calorie deficit anymore. Maybe you're even in a surplus and you're suffering all week just to end up gaining weight in the long run. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a cheat meal or eat the foods that you enjoy, but you have to build it in to your calorie tracker so that you're eating within the deficit that you've allowed yourself. You have to plan it out within your budget to make it work. In general, if you're eating about 80 to 90% healthy foods and allowing yourself to eat 10 to 20% more unhealthy treats and snacks that you enjoy, as long as it's within your calorie budget for the day, there is no problem. The next big mistake is that people see their scale weight level off and it's not moving down and it's discouraging, so they give up. If you constantly start and stop and start and stop, you'll never see progress. The thing about the scale weight is it can fluctuate dramatically throughout the week. So what you need to do is track your weekly average and compare it to your next weekly average over the course of 3 to 4 weeks to really see the weight trend. In addition to that, if you're also working out, which you should be focusing on building muscle, then as you're losing fat, you might be building muscle, and that's why your weight might plateau. Weight might be staying the same, which might be discouraging, but in reality, you're making incredible progress. So take progress photos, track your strength in the gym, your workouts, make sure you're making progress. Consider how your clothes are fitting, if they're getting looser in certain areas or tighter in the chest and the arms. And also just overall how well you're feeling, because maybe you're starting to feel better and better, and that's a great sign that you're making progress. The final mistake I'm going to share with you today is that you try to rush the process. This is a lifestyle change and is meant to be a long-term commitment. You're not going to get the results with a quick fix, and if you do something too aggressive or too fast, expecting to see results in 1 or 2 weeks, you're going to burn yourself out or discourage yourself because you're not seeing the progress that you're hoping for. So take it slow. Find something realistic and sustainable for you. All you have to do is try to lose a pound or two each week. And really, it's not that difficult. If you reduce your calorie intake by about 300 to 500 calories per day, and you go on a 30 to 60 minute incline treadmill walk, you're going to be easily burning a pound a week, if not 2 pounds per week. And if you can consistently burn 2 pounds per week, that's over 30 pounds in a 4 month period. Again, consistency is what's going to get you there. If you keep starting and stopping, you'll never see progress. And once you get there and achieve your goal, it is much easier to maintain than it is to lose weight. So just put in the work now, consistently, no matter how long it takes or how slow it has to be. Just make consistent efforts, build upon it, and once you get there, it'll be much easier to maintain. If you need more tips on how to build muscle or lose weight, check the video linked at the end. Take a look at the other videos on my channel and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on my next video.